Imagine running faster, further, and with less effort than before. What if those new running shoes of yours could literally propel you forwards or even help you to recover from injury? Maybe in a few years' time our shoes will even improve our running mechanics for us. Today I'm looking at the possible amazing future of running shoe technology. So today's video is focused on some recent Nike news. They unveiled a load of new running shoe technology. They got a load of these Instagram influencers over, some big people on YouTube. None of them were really that entrenched in running. They don't do an awful lot of exercise and stuff. It was just a really weird situation. We're going to show all this really cool new running stuff to people that don't really do an awful lot of running. Just feels a bit weird. Why show these niche technologies to everyday folks? It's just a bit odd. But I thought I'd do a video covering all of these new technologies. They're quite interesting, but I don't actually feel that all of them are actually going to make their way onto the feet of runners anytime soon. So first up, will we see further use of 3D printed technologies? Well, I guess the issue here is that 3D printing technology, it's been around a while now, and some of the filaments used, yes, they can be softer, but a lot of them are sort of harder, a bit more rigid. We want typical fabrics and sort of thinner meshes really on the uppers of our running shoes. They always feel a little bit nicer. I mean, they're about as thin and durable as we're going to get, I think, on shoes like the Fast R Nitro Elite 3 or perhaps the Assistive Ray from Asics as well. The issue I see here with these 3D printed uppers or even midsoles is the lack of configurability of the fit. They often don't have any laces or any tightening fixtures. Let's face it, all of our feet are different from person to person. Sometimes the individual themselves might have a half size difference between left and right. The Air Max 95,000 is another of those 3D printed tech shoes which Nike is set to release at the end of November 2025. There's a huge air bubble here in the rear of the shoe and then smaller air units in the mid to forefoot. All the rest of the shoe though is 3D printed. Now, is this something that we're going to see enter into the running world anytime soon? I think running sort of toyed with this idea of 3D printed elements within the shoes, but they appear to be very expensive to actually create and get to retail. I think that On shoe that they released was around about £300 here in the UK, which is crazy money. Don't really see this technology taken off in a big way within running. People like laces, I don't see them disappearing anytime soon. They're nice and configurable, and no matter how good the flavour of 3D printed filament is, I just don't really feel it's going to take over. So what about self-adjusting shoes now? Do I mean Marty McFly back in Back to the Future 2? Well, I guess the runners aren't quite ready for that yet. The issue here again is that of weight, with Adidas and Asics hitting us with super light plimsolls such as the Pro Evo 2 or the Metaspeed Ray. Those top level elite shoes are only going down in weight, not up. Self-lacing shoes simply aren't going to get a running shoe any lighter, perhaps in other sports, perhaps in other disciplines, but I don't really see it taking off in running. The extra electronics and the batteries needed for this type of setup just make it a no-go for runners, especially if you're running around in the rain and the wind like we've got in the UK right now. That could be a recipe for disaster. Imagine that, your run is curtailed by the fact that your shoes got wet and the lacing's gone all funny. Maybe you can't even get the shoe off. I mean, that would be terrible, wouldn't it? I have visions of Spinal Tap where he's trying to open up the pod, with the blowtorch. Nike removed the app that is used to tighten their self-lacing adapt shoes back in July of 2024, and they kind of curtailed that line up. It's just not happening. You're just going to have to tighten and loosen those shoes as Marty did in Back to the Future 2. Sadly, I just don't think that Nike adapt technology is going to make a comeback anytime soon. Now, how about the wild-looking Project Amplify from the swoosh? Well, first you got a shoe. Kind of looks a little bit like some of Nike's walking shoes, I suppose. One of the guys that Nike invited over there, he's quite a big YouTuber, not sure of his name. He just said that they were very foamy. I mean, the shoe ties up with what looks like a Puma disc or boa tightener. We've seen those before, so not really all that innovative. But there is an arm that comes from the back of the shoe to a part which straps around your calf, and that contains a motor which is attached to a drive belt. So yeah, it's a mechanical device. The processor is in the cuff section, and that analyzes how you walk or run over a short period of time. And then once it understands what you're trying to do, it kind of lifts your heel for you. So yes, it's assistive, and it's going to do the work of lifting your foot for you. Perhaps, I guess, even adjusting your foot strike to a degree, because you've not got so much actual control over when you do that yourself. I think it all sounds a bit like a potential injury situation to me. I mean, I get tech, but this is, hang on a minute, this is about running, right? The actual person doing the running. This is forcibly changing like the way you're moving, and anything where there's a very quick transition from one kind of way of doing something to another, there's always problems. Now, I can see why this might be really helpful for somebody that's coming back from injury, to perhaps assist them to, get around, or even like gain strength in a particular area, or limit the amount of movement in a certain area. I guess it's low profile enough to make it not too obtrusive, but the whole thing about going for a run is that I'm doing it. I like doing the actual thing. A lot of people message me and say, Ed, I want to do YouTube, what should I do? And it's like, well, you've got to just do it and enjoy what you're doing. If you're doing it because you want to make mega bucks, you're in the wrong trade, okay? If it's a machine doing something for you, or it's like, a battery that's got a computer in it, my brain is the computer doing the running, my heart's the engine, the leg's the vehicle, and, if I want to get better at it, then I've got to do it, surely. Heaven knows how much this tech will cost if it ever reaches, normal mortals. And there's an app with it as well, and I'm just not too keen on stuff with apps. If you've got to take your phone or something with you out there, it's just not a good idea. I hate doing that. I swore I'd never run without my phone again when I was appended by a dog back in 2021 and fractured my shoulder. I mean, that lasted a couple of weeks. Anyway, I've got one more from the swoosh, but I actually think this one's quite a good idea. So, Nike Mind. This is like a Swiss cheese-like midsole with lots of cutouts there, which feature specifically placed softer foam sections that connect with particular parts of your foot. It looks like they've calculated using sort of neuroscience and Doc Brown style headwear as to where particular bits of your foot kind of engage with your brain, kind of connects the wearer more with the ground, perhaps could aid in recovery and sort of mindfulness or something. I can actually see a hint of transferable benefit here from the Nike Mind shoes. There's going to be 2 different versions. I think they're coming out reasonably soon. There's like a slide and then a more traditional kind of looking shoe with more traditional lacing. I think it's mainly going to be aimed at a pre-activity shoe, but it seems like it could be soft enough to kind of use as like a recovery type option as well. Maybe lowering stress, connecting more with real world natural sources of input to the brain. Maybe even like a massage for the foot and the mind. I do wonder how long those protruding nodes that you can see on the outsole are going to last on an average sort of day-to-day use. There's no rubber here to speak of, and got to sort of wonder about longevity, but I kind of want to try these, they're really weird. So if I get the chance to pick up the Mind 2, I think it is, which is the more sort of shoe-like looking thing, I'll see if I can get a pair and tell you what I think. I'll monitor like my stress levels on my watch and see if it lowers the general weight on my shoulders. In other news from Nike, won't they just release their Vaporfly Next Percent Original, and it will sell really well, I promise. Just do it, please, alright? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this wild Nike tech down in the comments. It's a long video, so no musical interlude today, but I'll make up for it with 2 in the next one. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, like, drop us a comment as well to help with the algorithm. My name's Ed Bud, and I'll be seeing you in the future.